Sounds like we're live. Okay, great. So I'd like to call to order the UCC Board of Education meeting for September 11th. Let's see, Erica is at a conference and out of town, so please mark her excused. So please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible. So Abigail, are there any citizen comments? Okay, let's move on to the consent agenda. We've got minutes and some new contracts, employee contracts, and then second reading, first reading of policies. Any questions about any of the items? Okay, seeing no concerns or objections, the consent agenda is approved. There's no changes to the agenda. So first off, we've got some invited reports, and Nick is here to tell us about the Spanish trip this summer. So please, grab a chair, relax, introduce yourselves, and tell us about your trip. I doubt if anybody even has met you, Nick, so please.
Yes, I'll introduce myself. So I'm Nick Tratz, and I teach Spanish here at UCC. I've been here 13 years. And then these are two of my students who went on our trip this summer to Spain and Morocco. So this is Juan and Andrew. And so we've got two more students who went on the trip, but they couldn't be with us this evening. So we're going to share just a few photos from the trip and some anecdotes and go through a few things. I just have to have you go to the next picture. Right. Oh, well, let me tell you about this one first. Yeah. So we were on the beach in northern Morocco, and we had an opportunity to ride camels with our tour group that we were with. So everybody did fabulous on the camels. You did a great job bartering with them. You can go on to the next one, Austin. So I'm going to share just a little bit about our planning and prep process, how this kind of came about, our itinerary, and then just some photos and reflections on the experience. This is one of the places we visited, the Alhambra, which is one of the crown jewels of Spain, the last Moorish citadel to be retaken during the Christian reconquest. And it's absolutely beautiful architecture, just a wonderful place to visit. So this is our group. So we've got Juan and Andrew, and then Sonia and her sister Chrissy. This whole idea came about from Spanish Club about 1.5 years, 2 years ago now, where people were saying, "Hey, we should go somewhere." And Dr. Pokrant was at our one of our meetings, and the students got very excited about this, and she was very supportive, and has been supportive the whole time of these international endeavors and encouraging students to go abroad and faculty to lead efforts like this. So we started doing a little research, found EF Tours, which does tour groups, study abroad groups to different countries. And so we began the process of creating a course so that the students would get credit for it. So I created the Spanish 199 Spain and Morocco course. And then we were recruiting students. So ended up with a great group of 4, I think.
How many were you?
So there was the 4 of us, me, and then we joined with a bigger tour group that had 2 other universities in it.
Okay.
So altogether, we were 35 people. So,
nice.
Which was really wonderful because then people had a chance to make friends. And, So this is our overall itinerary. We flew from Portland into Madrid, spent a couple of nights there, and then took the bullet train down to Granada. Spent a couple of nights there visiting the Alhambra and some of the other sites, doing a hike. One of our, Sonia really wanted to do a hike of some kind, so I researched this hike ahead of time that was really cool. I think everybody enjoyed it. Yeah. Yeah. And then we took the ferry over from Spain to Morocco. And that's a picture of us on the ferry going to Tangier. So we spent 2 nights in Tangier, 2 nights in Fez, and then 1 night in Casablanca and flew out back to the US. So this is in Madrid, the Royal Palace. And we unfortunately didn't get to tour it because the king was having some event the following day, so they weren't allowing any tourists in. But we still got to visit the grounds, the cathedral nearby.
And there are lots of statues outside. So it was nice. And they had also kind of close to where we're at. There was a view off the side of the mountain.
So they took good care of us with our food on the tour. This was at lunch in Madrid one day. They had us at a restaurant and lots of different tapa options.
So low carb.
Pardon?
So low carb.
Yeah. So low carb, yeah. Some really delicious stuff. The Spanish are so inventive with their cuisine, always coming up with new combinations of foods. And
these things are very like you were customary.
Okay, and what is tapas?
Tapas there. If you were to translate to English, it's almost like an appetizer type thing.
Okay.
So there's little almost orders, if you will.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
usually from we went to on the trip. It's almost like the Spanish version of probably.
That's great. Huh.
so this is the hike that we went on near Granada. It was a really cool hike. This trail just hugged this the side of the canyon, and in places they had metal bars that they lodged into the rock wall so you could hold on. And then at certain points it would go under these caves, so you were going through the caves next to the creek. That was pretty cool. Andrew got down into the little caves.
Thought there might be dead bodies. Nice.
This is also on the hike. There were some hanging bridges, and then at the end, everybody's like, "Oh, let's get in the water and cool off a bit because it was pretty hot." And Andrew was the first one to get into the waterfall. So while we were in Granada, we had a chance to go to a flamenco performance, which was just wonderful. It was up in the caves above the city. The Roma culture has done this dance and song for hundreds of years, and so it was a really special experience that evening. And then we we're in Morocco on Cape Spartel, and they were showing off some birds, some kind of eagle, I think.
Yeah, I think it was
Red-tailed hawk. Okay. There's our river. After Tangier, we went to Chefchaouen, which has this beautiful downtown that's all painted blue. It's just absolutely gorgeous. we were there at an interesting time, though. They were celebrating a Muslim holiday commemorating Abraham's sparing his son Isaac and slaughtering the ram instead that he'd found in the thicket. So every family, if they could afford one, would buy a sheep and slaughter the sheep. And we were there on the day of the slaughter, and you could smell the sheep throughout the day. That was fun. Saw it too. Yeah. So these were some of the meals we had, or at least one of them, some of the different salads and dishes in Fez. I think you guys like the food in Morocco better than Spain, right?
Yeah,
Overall.
That's the spice market in Toronto there. Yeah. Is that guy still there that's selling Rolexes for $5?
Place, there's 6 now.
So part of the experience in Fez was seeing all the different crafts and how they made them in the city. So they took us to a number of different places. They took us to a ceramic shop and showed us the whole process, beginning with raw clay all the way to finished pottery and lots of different things they were trying to sell us. They kept on reminding us throughout the trip that Morocco is a sales culture, and they're going to try to sell you stuff the whole time you're here. So you did see our tour group come in, they get really excited. You can see it on their faces. I bought some stuff.
Well, it's a really high price. This is a culture to
About the camel leather. Tanner.
I got that 500 to
But yeah, we went out to a restaurant. They had belly dancing performance for us, and then they invited us to get up and dance as well with them. And so we got in on that. There was they did a demonstration of a traditional wedding with a couple of the people in our group who happened to be dating. So that was
pretty neat.
yeah, it was very neat. Yeah.
Live music too.
Live music was great. Yeah, the magician too came
I had
out.
no idea.
But the mosaics there were just beautiful. These buildings on the outside would just be very simple buildings, but on the inside ornate with mosaics and very intricate tile work, woodwork.
And we saw how all the time was done, starting with the tiny pieces.
Fez, we briefly went to Rabat on the way to Casablanca, and it's really, I thought, a very beautiful city on the coast, medieval walls and beautiful beaches. It's where the king lives, so they keep everything just pristine. No, we didn't have a lot of time. Yeah. This is our last dinner in Casablanca, and the meal was really fabulous. This is just one of the dishes they had, some seafood. But I was commenting to our tour director, Yana, that we had the very best food the very last night, and she said, you know, the money goes further in Morocco too than it does in Spain. So they're able to give us better experience in Morocco in terms of the food. So
As far as currency goes, the US
saying goodbye to Yana in the middle, our field director. She was just really wonderful. She treated us like family the whole time. I think the whole group just felt like it was a really special experience. Everyone just came together, and so we had a great time. But you're planning on going traveling with maybe some of them in a couple of years.
Yeah, I won't tell 'em.
So there's Andrew's camel leather jacket that he bought him. And so yeah, overall, it was just an excellent trip, a wonderful itinerary. It's the only itinerary that EF Tours had that visited 2 different continents. So that was unique. It was a fantastic group that we had, as I mentioned before. The food was delicious. They had us in great hotels the whole time, 4-star hotels. And I think everybody came away with some great perspectives on language and culture throughout the trip. So were there any other thoughts you had on?
Well, as far as language goes, in Spain, there was a lot more people that spoke English, and well, I speak Spanish, so I could communicate pretty well. But then going to Morocco, not very many people spoke Spanish, surprisingly, even though the Spain is just right across the ocean. So that was something new. And English there was also kind of like iffy. We had to use our tour guide a lot to help us translate.
What did they speak?
Arabic and French too.
Spain used to
Yeah.
be a tongue for us several hundred years ago, so we probably are really big on picking up Spanish as a second language, because they might still be a little upset about it.
We noticed on the coast in Tangier, there were a lot more people who did speak Spanish, but once you got further inland into Fez, and it was mostly just Arabic and French at that point.
Surprise.
For me, my biggest surprise was I was expecting very crowded streets in Morocco the whole time we were there, but because we were there during that holiday time, most of the people were at home celebrating with their families, and so it was kind of like a ghost town in some places. There were a few people out in the streets, a few shops were open, but it was a lot quieter than I'd expected.
Biggest surprise. Spain, people chose to get from Spain and Morocco.
So yeah, 10 days in the countries,
Okay.
and then 2 days of travel.
Right. Great trip. Really got a lot of
Yeah, it was a lot. It's great. So this was my first time taking a group abroad like this, and I know Rachel has expressed a lot of interest in other faculty taking student groups as well in the future. So we're looking forward to wherever that may go.
Did you do fundraisers or anything to for friends to go or?
report.
Good question. I mean, I love Spain. I have a lot of love for Spain. I studied over there myself as an undergraduate, so I would definitely take a group back to Spain. But I've also considered some other locations, Costa Rica, especially if we're doing like a combined group with a biology faculty and had some biology students who wanted to do a combined group. That could be a good option in the future as well.
So since are you both still students?
Right.
So tell us about your plans for this year and beyond. Yeah, we can't let you get out of here without like the rest.
we kind of tap. Just make it's friendly. Cost effective, and just smaller scale also, but I've noticed that the machinery is super huge and expensive. It's not ideal for smaller businesses to have. That's my.
Great. How about you, Andrew?
Say,
Okay, great. Well, thank you all so much. And, you know, Nick, thank you for all the work you put into this trip. I mean, these students will benefit from this, you know, for the rest of their lives. So it's really impactful.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us this evening.
Yeah,
Sure.
thank you.
Thank you. Awesome.
And good luck, students. Okay, so next we have Austin Kennedy and Josh Ray. They're going to talk about our fire science program. So gentlemen, welcome. And if you could please introduce yourselves and
Coordinator at UCC. I've worked for about 2 years. So primarily fire science program, my role is just to support Josh. Program.
About myself, I'm from Astoria, Oregon originally. Been in the fire service for 15 years. Been working for over 15 years, currently a lieutenant. Background with UCC, so this will be my 8th year teaching the fire. So that's 2 terms. We call it elementary fire science, and basically we force doors, we throw ladders, and search buildings, and just get students ready for fire. Earlier this year, Andy Hatfield, the old fire science coordinator, kind of hinted around to me that he was ready to retire, and seeing if I'd be interested. So, long talk with the wife, being a full-time firefighter and taking this on, and talking to a lot of chiefs around the county. Thought it might be a good fit. Had a good meeting with Danielle and Austin about it. And jump in, and so far it's been honestly the most rewarding thing I've done in the parks.
great.
Thank you so much for that opportunity. Just would like to talk on a little bit.
I always forget.
There we go. It's on. It is on. So UCC's mission statement: Umpqua Community College transforms lives and enriches communities. I believe our goals at the fire science align really well with those goals. First thing that I find when they come into my office for recruiting, I want to find their passion. That makes the best firefighters. People that love what they do, right? Culture of safety through training. So through our program, we feel the best or the safest firefighters are ones that are ready, right? That's what academy and all these classes are for. That keeps you safe. Impacts in our community. So just for my fire department alone, it's important for us to find students here. 5 out of the last 7 people that we've hired have been from UCC's program. Before that, we were hiring a lot of people up Northwest, including myself. So I'm kind of ratting myself out that I love the area and I stayed. Everyone I got hired with went to other locations. Since I started this academy, we can find students that are good at their job or passionate. So we've been honestly stealing them. And it's been working out great for them because they are a part of this community, right? They want to help the citizens. It's not great for us because they stay. Another part of the community that we're impacting. So if anyone's ever heard the Tea and Fashion Show, that's something that my wife runs, and fire department is a part of it. So we escort cancer survivors down the runway. There's about 500 people there, And we raise over $40,000 every year for our Douglas County Cancer Services. So we're teaching our students to make an impact in the community, not just going on calls, but to be leaders. Becoming a firefighter, obviously when they come in my door, that's their overall goal, and that's my goal for them. So we're just really hitting everything hard to get them ready, to go out and get that career. No matter what.
Josh's passion really is his students, for example. Go from Josh to a student.
So yeah, everyone in pink besides one's a volunteer, but those are all students. They just come and hang out. And our overall goal is to have those cancer survivors at the time. Just a little bit about our program. So like I said, first off is Fire Academy. They come to me first and we start with the basics. So we hit that part. It's always been a really popular class, at least for the last 7 years, for the program. The things the next few you see there are fire behavior and building construction. It's because a lot of paramedics come into my class just trying to get that fire side of it, stay in their program, but what they're missing out are those two classes, fire behavior and building construction. Those are very important in my job. For example, a couple of years ago, I was on a fire where the whole first story was well involved in fire, is blowing out the front door, and is heading to the second story. So made contact with another lieutenant. I was on scene, and he started his fire attack, and I went to the second story and started my search. So I grabbed actually a student that was out of our program. He was brand new, so we went into that window and started our search. Right off the bat, I was just kind of checking in. Hey, how you doing? And he's like, it's really hot up here. And then it clicked in my mind, oh yeah, he's only been in the fire service for a year. This is one of his first fires he'd ever been to. So quick learning experience for the situation we're in. I was like, all right, what do you hear? And there's hose lines going underneath us. So we could hear water. What's the smoke doing? Smoke was turning white. So to us, that means it's converting to steam, right? So that means we're actively cooling the fire. And I just kind of quickly explained that. And he's like, I'm like, are you good? Okay. So we continued our search, searched 3 bedrooms real quick. And on the 4th one, it just seemed hotter than normal compared to the other rooms. So I waited for the hose line that came up the stairs. They hit it one more time. I'm like, all right, we're going to search closets real quick just to make sure there's no one in here. And it was 3 a.m. with cars in the drive. That's why we were so aggressive, thinking that someone may be in there. And knocked it down, cooled it off. And then I took kind of one step in and it didn't feel right. So I grabbed him. We're out. So I went back down the ladder, got some water, new bottle, and went back in just to kind of finish the job and make sure no one was in there. And there was a hole right in the middle of that floor. So if we fully committed into that room, it would have been a bad. It's not saying we would have died or anything, but obviously it wouldn't have been great. But I tell that story to students that come in, why these classes are so important and you need to pay attention. The rest of these classes, just real quick, hazmat, pumping, fire prevention, rescue. You can see students cutting up a car with a career lieutenant right there. Land EMT basics. So everything, fire departments have gotten so broad on the calls that we go to. So my engine company runs about 3,000 calls every year. Our whole department runs about 8,000 calls a year. It's no longer really being a firefighter, it's problem solving. So if you call 911, you're probably getting a fire to come, and that's where all of these nuggets come in from the class. It's going to help students make a decision. So
9 a day. Wow.
Steve does math.
that's good.
It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's right. So improvements that we have done just this year. So emergency vehicle operations course used to be a class here probably 10 years ago. We're bringing it back. So that's for police, fire, and EMS. Emergency driving is very dangerous, and we want students to have that exposure right away. So we're gonna bring in this class, we're gonna bring in a great instructor, and he's gonna use case studies and knowledge and his experience. And from there, we're actually gonna get students driving our vehicles because we have fire engines and ambulance police here. So to get that exposure is gonna be huge. Instructor one course. So that was actually taught by the state, but I had that in my college career. I had a great leader teaching. So I want to do the same thing here for the students, because if they get that exposure now, when they do go out to their departments and their community, I want them to be leaders, right?
And just so medicine, yeah, field myself, Canyonville, trying to be a leader with 10 people without training, so start. It's kind of similar situation. So
Degree program, that's been exciting. So it was something that we could incorporate right away because we had all the classes for it. But so there's really two routes to firefighting. You can do the EMS side or the fire side. Either way, you can get that same. You can get higher. So for me, anyone that comes to fire science, I give that option of the medic on that third year. So they can graduate with their fire science degree in 2 years, but do all the prereqs for paramedic and jump right into the second year of the medic program. So in 3 years, they have two. That's been absolutely. Because honestly, at 2021, they might need a little more life experience before they actually get home. Finding the right people. So we hired 10 people to join us pretty much on this fire science adventure that we're doing. So I teach throughout the county. I teach different academies for different departments, hazmat, and pretty much I know who is strong at what they do. So I try to bring in all the instructors that I could, and we found some really good outside instructors. For instance, found at Las Vegas, I think he was a training officer for LA or Las Vegas Fire Department. So he's going to come in and teach suppression systems because he's used to that being in a big city. A certification. So in my world, certifications are just as important as your degree, to be honest. So every hands-on class, I just make sure that they're getting a certificate that they need. So when they do go interview, they have it ready. And we'll be affiliated with
as part of that, we'll bring a skid truck for the emergency vehicle operations course. It's basically a fire truck, big skids, and similar to drive. Something else we do is attend the chiefs meeting every 2 months, and we got a lot of feedback that we provide students to them, and they graduate their degree, but then we don't provide any continuing education. So that was looking to do with these certifications in this class, and how after you graduate students do we continue to get that continuing.
Possibility of UCC being a place for some continuing education for cities, or one, maybe some specific area like chemical fires or some specialty that you don't see that often, but you would be able to get some additional certifications if you attended and passed a test at some continuing education facility like UCC. We do something like that?
100%. It's in our needs category that we'll bring up in this presentation. That would definitely
you get people, hopefully you do some other states or other cities that could benefit from that too.
Most definitely.
Well,
The possibilities are honestly.
degree. If I get a degree in science, UCC,
The EMS is a little different, but it's still, there's the national certified and everything.
Okay.
As far as the degree, that's not a requirement for most departments. Either one isn't required to get. That's the same.
Hey, talk to us briefly about supply and demand.
What's that?
Supply and demand of like how many students
Oh.
and or do they all get jobs and
Yeah, so.
that sort of thing?
Compared to what it used to be, they are coming in at the right time. So just at Roseburg alone, I tested against 140 people for my position. The last test we had, I think we had 30. And that's everywhere in the state. Bigger city departments, I tested at Seattle too, and there's 4,000 people there, and their numbers are way down. It's the right time for these students to get in the fire service because lots of people are retiring and there's not a ton of. I think it's the whole workforce, to be honest. It seems like everybody's just struggling to find good people. Yeah. Yeah. No. No.
I don't know. Fire sounds like it's disguised as work.
It's work, but it's fun work. In person, so we're bringing back one thing that has honestly bugged me since I've gotten here. So the safety and survival class went to online before I got here because many student in this topic and being instructor for some that are it brings our firefighters home to this specifically is for our needs to be hands-on. I felt so I don't know, I felt like we needed it so bad. I took a week in my fire academy and we made it strictly firefighter survival. So at Winston Fire Department we have a lot of different props and we pretty much get students uncomfortable. We put them in spaces that they don't like, but get them tangled up and they need to take that deep breath and get out of that situation. Being in downtown Roseburg, so I go, like we have 5-story buildings, right? Those are on fire and it's not sprinkled and we have a rescue. I need to go in, but I also need to be able to save myself if I get in trouble. So if I'm up there, we just with my tool that I bring everywhere and webbing in my pocket, so basically rope, I've learned how to help windows. All of our students go through that training in the fire academy class, and I have to say that that's going to be kind of hands-on next year. So instead of just a week, it's going to be a full term.
I could do that on Zoom.
So here's a video.
Don't invite me first.
I'm in, let's do it.
Here's a video.
Oh
of
my
our
goodness.
Students repelling. Hopefully I can play it, maybe. Goodness.
Wow.
I didn't know there'd be volume. There's obviously some banger music going on.
Serious work.
Just to keep it intense.
Wow, but you like get yourself all hooked up though.
Yeah, so that's a safety rope hooked on just in case they do it wrong and they don't fall. Long story, get hurt. But yeah, and cool story. So that student right there actually works on my engine. I have 2 students that went through my academy that are on my phone. It's pretty cool to see the product.
That's great,
That they're paid firefighters on your engine, and I know exactly what they're capable of because I started from day one. So just briefly, equipment that we have, everything to the left has been generously donated by departments around the county. That's great, and I'm so happy to have it, but at the same time, it's used equipment that has been out of date and they didn't need it, right? So I've been really working this just in my short time here to start purchasing equipment, personal protective equipment. That's the gear that you saw, came in repelling. The hose was a big one. So all of our hose, as you see our fire engines, hose is supposed to be covered. It's not supposed to have direct sunlight. So a fear of mine was obviously a student spraying hose and it bursting and getting hurt. My whole fire academy, I'm probably here a total of 4 weeks, just doing bookwork stuff. And then we go out to different departments because I need my students to be safe and efficient. And that's really the only way I can do it. I can't really use our equipment to actually. Been updating tools. Radios has been a big one. This is actually his idea, to buy radios just to work on our communication. Most fires that have gone wrong have been through poor communication. So we're gonna at least get that foundation with our students to work on.
The radios we have. Loudly. So that's important communicating. As well.
So what's gonna be best nice to you for you, but I figured I'd show off what we have for our students now. But just the pride of what we wear, I think is important. These are not easy courses, especially my academy class. There is a lot of sweat that goes into that. And if you see these shirts around, just know that those students worked for it. It's pretty cool. And yeah. So recruitment and buy-in. So I got the head nod that I'm probably gonna start. And so around April, May, I really started hitting the high schools before they went out of school, right? I wanted to find students that were like me. So I was really into sports and I worked hard, but I had zero idea what I wanted to do with my life. So when that ended, I was panicked. So I've been going into schools, just finding those students that want to be passionate about something and do something that's out of the ordinary. Something new. There's something new every day. Programs that we started. Got Missy back there. Great idea. This has already started before I got here, but the Friday Academy class, we're taking high school students and they are doing 3 college curriculum courses here at the college and at Roseburg High School. That's great for them and it's great for us, right? Meeting with students has been huge, I think, for our recruiting. So every email that I get of a student interested, I make sure I meet face to face with them, whether it's here or somewhere else. Just telling my story and my passion and everything about my job and what I do, that those maybes, almost every single one of them has turned into where's the registration. So that's been rewarding. Communicating with fire departments and advisors. This has been huge for the turnaround. Like I said, our medic program's excellent. It's established, and that's where most of our students went because that's what they're educated to do. Again, just like I told you, just talking to different fire departments and explaining why this fire science degree is important. And honestly, looking back at who we hired and what their knowledge was after we hired, what knowledge did they service for academies like ours, we don't really have time just to start from basics, right? From basics. We like them to have that knowledge. Advisors as well, just conversations about why it's important has been huge for our program. Diversity. So conversation with Danielle day 1 in our meeting was we need more women in our program. Women are thriving in the fire service from all over. I usually have about 3 to 4 in my class. And some good examples. So Malia was a UCC wrestler here, and she killed it in the program. From day 1, just putting on her gear, she whipped those boys' butts up and down the training grounds, and they were so frustrated. And that happened all year long. Something that we really helped her with. So in my fire academy is actually a student's idea that was graduating. He said, "I wish we would have had like an interview day or something." That's a great idea. So I went to my department and we take a day in our department and our students come in, suits, dressed nice. If they don't have suits, I find them suits. And they come in, go to our fire administration, assistant, and she grades their resumes because she's really good at that. And she marks them, lets them know what they can do better, and then they come into the panel, and it's fire chiefs from all over. We've had them from all over the county, we've had Eugene, a lot of different people there over the years, and I put my students in stressful situations in class, and it doesn't even compare to that day. They can't. But it's made them so much better. So she texted me last month, and she went through the program, thanking me for the skills we gave her and everything. But she's like, more than anything, that interview day saves me. I came in and killed it in the interview, and she started with Eugene Springfield Fire this month. So, cool story. Taylor's a great example too. This is by far the smallest individual I've ever had in my class. And so second term of the fire academy is all hands on, and it's a requirement that you have to throw this heavy ladder, throw it up and raise it, right? And she's been in her program for about 6 months at this point. And she goes, Lieutenant Ray, I cannot throw this ladder. We've tried, I'm not strong enough. And I'm like, just let me work some techniques out. I'll get you to throw it in 20 minutes. And she looked at me like, oh, that's great. Like I said, just fixing techniques, and then just telling her, Taylor, you can't hesitate. You just need to throw this ladder. And this was 20 minutes later. Not the cleanest. I stopped it for privacy, and I went around, and she was beaming from ear to ear. Just got better. She got really good at her skills. By the end of it, she was dialed. So just telling those stories when I go into high schools has been huge. We went from, like I said, 3 to 4 a year. We're up to 12 right for the starting this year.
What I was gonna ask is if you do go to the entire Douglas County with the departments to try to get help and to get them in here. Yeah.
Yep. Usually fire programs also invite me to their career fairs and everything, which has been really big. A lot of students that I've met, and hi, I'm Josh Ray. They're like, I know I met you at career fair. And hundreds of students. It's been working.
That's a lot of feedback. We had 12 partners, Sutherland, I Winston, and the biggest thing is
We had 13 total fire science students just in the short time that we're pretty much crazy. We have 29 college fire science students, 13 high school students, and 42 total fire science students. So huge turnaround in just a short time. It's been really cool. This is awesome. I'm ecstatic to, oh no. What have I done? I don't have enough equipment for this. So the challenges in all this, obviously the rapid growth, I need to make sure I have turnouts, SCBAs for every single student. So start calling around different departments, my vendors, and that stuff just started coming. So, students, safe and efficient place to train is kind of a struggle. Luckily, we have departments that allow us to come in. All of the areas are kind of small. So I have 24 students this year with a waiting list. The biggest I had is 16 last year, and it was difficult trying to get with every single individual on the field. It's like we need a bigger location that we can actually split them up with our different directors and do it consistently. Ensuring we feed students' passion. So that's a concern of mine. So every other college in the state has a training grounds or at least a location at a fire department sufficient for myself moving around a lot because departments obviously have their own training needs that they need to take care of, which is understandable. So yeah, a concern of mine is with this many students that they start looking at those other locations and maybe it'll be more efficient for me to get my degree there. So that. First 1-year goal, maintain program momentum. I'm going to keep recruiting, keep going to those job fairs, all the high schools again this spring and grab as many students as I can for our program. continue improvements, gonna keep chipping away at equipment as money comes in, make sure our equipment's safe and efficient for our students. And plan for the future. So do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, I think just from an administrative point of view, my like one of the goals is just to kind of collect all this data, all the feedback from Josh, the high school advisory board, you guys, and start looking at budget. Out there, just, create a proposal and
One thing we're, the pride that comes through my class when we're done on that last day, it's something special. So they get, their firefighter one cert through that class. It's a test and it's not easy. And when they complete it, it's a great day. I want that same thing to be when they get there to, they went through something special that wasn't easy, but they got it and they're ready to go out in the world. Graduation rate has not been stellar. Students since 2019. So with this increase in students, I believe that's going to change. It's something to just watch out for. Employment rate, this is important too. That's my goal for the student. I want every student that completes this program, any fire department, they go to the state and they see Umpqua Community College. I want that to be something. They want to pick up these students that we are graduating because they know that they're in a good regional training center. So that's been my dream since I came here. Honestly, it's been such a need for the community, as you're asking. There's not a place for everyone to come get their certs, honestly, learn. UCC can be special in that way. Obviously, our students are priority, but the community come in and get those certs and be great for their community too, which is our community. By 5 years, I'm hoping that all of our equipment is up to date. With a training center, hopefully that we get at some point, like it's going to be live fire. So we need best and safest equipment that students can actually go in and fight fire. Obviously want to be the best fire science program in the state. That we're getting, if we can sustain that, it is very doable if we have a location that we can train. That's what we're talking about. So Eugene, Springfield, they don't have a college there, but they bring in volunteers for some money to pretty much go through a basic program. So whose base sends it there? I'd like us to be that base for our community. Do it for free. I mean, there are, right? We can be reimbursed by the state and all that fun stuff to sustain the program, but I do want this place for our develop training center for students in our community. Just kind of to paint a picture. So this was a really good day. Fire department invited. So this is for whom? This is the training burn. So pretty much people call us up and say, hey, I'm going to demolish my house, but if you want to use it for training, you can burn it. So Winston Fire Department called me and said, hey, we'd love for you to come and instruct this training burn. And I said, all right, I'll come if I can bring my team and my students. And they said, the more the merrier. So we came in, it was a bunch of career personnel, students, volunteers, and we had some of the coolest fire behavior in this house that I've ever seen. It was a good day for everyone. He was actually a student in the house.
it was incredible. Student got several rotations. Time to be on.
These are few and far between. This is why I'm pitching my program. Place that
Orange houses.
Yeah, I mean,
You can tell, right?
the place where we can actually do live fire and educate our firefighters to be better for our community. So yeah, this is my contact information. This administrative stuff is brand new to me. So any advice that you have, any ideas, I would like to hear it. So we'll take hazmat for example. So I teach awareness and operations. So they come to us for certification. different certification. They also have their own drill nights, but they'll bring people in to help teach and instruct.
I think that certification. Departments or volunteer.
So what's your sweet spot for numbers? Make it up. They all get jobs.
I think, so this year is gonna be an experiment, with 24. I'm gonna have to rewrite my curriculum. I think we can make it work effectively. I haven't done this many students yet, so we're gonna find out, but hopefully, I have a lot of instructors that have a lot of knowledge, so we'll just split people up and, get our reps in, but I'm not sure. We'll see what.
Force is really unpredictable too right now. Most, I think, firefighters want to. They're okay. Swing back and forth. Jobs out there.
Gentlemen, this is just amazing. Thank you so much. Wow.
Great information.
Whenever we have a presentation, I'm like, oh, why didn't I become a firefighter? Why didn't I become a? Why didn't I do that?"
Too late. Throw ladders.
I'm not sure. I can't even get on a ladder.
Might be too late. Okay. I think it's the repelling part that'll be fun.
Oh, yeah.
Repelling is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was an
Thank you.
incredible
Thank you.
presentation. And thank you for all your work. I mean, you've like completely turned the program around. Just, yeah, it's unbelievable. So thank you guys very much. Whew. Okay, let's see. Oh,
Yep, you're up.
Missy. Hi, Missy.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you. Hi, it's good to see you guys all again. It's hard to follow a burning building, but I did have teenagers here in the summer and it was hot. So anyway, I'm Missy Olson, Executive Director of the Early College Office. And I'm just gonna give you a quick update on what we did this summer with some special programming we had. So from some of our events we held last year, it definitely became clear that kids would be open to more in-depth experiences to really learn about career and college paths. And so the summer camps came out of that. So
You can just do it for us.
I mean, I'm not great with right and left.
If you can just do it for us.
Okay, awesome. Okay, awesome. So we originally started with 7 themed camps. And in the end, we came out with 5, and I'll explain what happened there. But these were all based on themes that we picked from feedback from our high school counselors during our High School Connections event. We had a number of meetings with our area health network partnership. And so there's several healthcare themed ones in here that were done on purpose. And we looked at all our students across the county, took a youth science assessment this last year. And we looked at the top choices that came out of those assessments that showed the careers that they were interested in. We had industry and faculty involvement during these camps, and they were covered under a Career Connected Learning grant from the state. So we provided all of these camps free of charge to the students, including lunch and all their like tickets and experiences they just had to get. The list of schools is on the screen there. What's really great about that is we had most schools in Douglas County participating. It was great to see even from our rural areas. So the ones that ran, we did the arts. This was a way to expose our creative kids to things out there. We had Bart and Dr. Heald participate for a number of lessons on campus. And the kids did hands-on activities around music and theater. We brought in various artists from our county. So the glass blowing artist is there. A tattoo artist came in because that's a big deal with the teenagers. They really all think they want to be tattoo artists. So they got to learn what that really entails, and it's not as easy as they thought. So that was great and eye-opening for them. And then we spent a day down at the Oregon Shakespeare Festival doing a behind-the-scenes tour and then enjoying some Macbeth. So this group of kids was really exposed to what they could do if they were to choose to major in art. The healthcare sessions were partnered with the Area Health Education Network. We worked collaboratively to try to think of how we could develop our own experience. There's one very similar up at OHSU. And in my past life, when I was the upper bound director, I actually paid for kids to go up to OHSU and experience this camp. So we tried to sort of model it here. They did amazing hands-on activities with our faculty in the nursing, dental assisting, phlebotomy, EMS, and fire. So it was not just about sitting around and listening about things. It was like getting things done. And they loved like the tourniquet thing. And we brought in dogs for experiences so that the students learned like there's things that all different kinds of people need. So it covered a wide range of healthcare careers. And then we actually toured Mercy Medical Center, and the new CEO spoke to the students during that experience and really tried to explain their need for employees there at Mercy. They went to the Community Cancer Center, and then they did hands-on activities with the residents at Aviva. In the whole week, they also were trained in basic life support and that CPR component that's needed for the healthcare programs. And they went through a QPR training, which is suicide prevention with ADAPT. That was 2 sessions of students. Those were pretty high demand, so we did run it twice. And we had an extra special grant that covered the cost of all of that.
They both were full, weren't
They were both full, yeah, with a little bit of teenagers deciding at the last minute that they maybe couldn't commit to.
How many?
There were 90 total during over the 5 weeks we ran. And actually this one was the highest. But healthcare had the most because there were 2 sessions, but we kept hearing about how kids wanted to know about like the vet animal science path. And even though we don't specifically have that degree, we can help them get where they want to go by understanding their prereqs and getting them off to where that is. So this is what that focused on. We had vet techs come in. We zoomed in with COCC's vet tech program. We did a project at Saving Grace. I say I did not scoop the gravel with them, but they did an amazing job kind of working with Saving Grace. And in all of these experiences, the staff all talked to them about what the careers are like in their field. This one is about passion, right? Sometimes these people don't make a ton of money, but they love what they do. And so that's what the kids were starting to learn about. Wildlife safari was great. The veterinarian did a behind the scenes tour with them. The animal keepers talked about what it takes to be an animal keeper. And then we went to Newport. We did a behind the scenes tour of the Oregon Coast Aquarium. And we had a biologist from the Marine Science Hatfield Center talk to the kids about the biology track as well. So it was really cool, really hands-on. And this was originally our highest 1 week interest area. The trades, this one was 3 days of learning from our faculty members. They did an entire day of welding, each developed a project. They did a whole day of auto, so they learned how to fix their engines and handle issues if anything were to come up. The apprenticeship program came out and did some hands-on activities, but on that same day, they also toured Swanson and heard about the need for employees. And then they spent their last day building these sheds for the homeless community in Sutherland. And so we worked with the Sutherland City Shop to get that together, and they built all of those ones that are down in that bottom picture in one day. So great for teenagers to be contributing back. So those were the overall summer camps. Before I switch to this one, I will say we had originally planned an entrepreneur one with the Small Business Development Center and a public safety and law camp. We did find out that the entrepreneur one, we probably planned it in maybe the wrong week. It was the same week that a number of kids had gone off to the FBLA National Conference, which if you're interested in business, that's probably where you're going to be. And we might want to expand just the cohort. Christopher was looking at just 11th graders for that one, but I think we'd like to expand the grades. And then the public safety and law one, we planned the week before school went back. And the kids by that point were thinking, I think, of their future plans and no longer their summer plans. So we'll take some lessons and think about that in the future. But we had some great ideas, and our partners were fabulous. The court system was opening up. We were going to do a tour of the jail. We had all our, police and emergency medical people responding and were willing to participate with us. And they all came through in all of these camps. When we reached out and asked for industry to participate, they all said yes. So it's amazing. Just that last thing was that CNA cohort. On top of those camps, the other aspect, the early college office, we worked with the nursing department. There was a huge demand last year for Career Academy, and it caps out at 10 for students who would like to be in the nursing assistant cohort. And we have a special career pathways grant. So we thought, let's try this, do a summer cohort. And so Chelsea Gillespie Town worked really hard to find a qualified instructor for us, and that we ended up paying for this for the students who enrolled through that Career Pathways grant. Of the 10 who enrolled, 9 of them are currently right now this week getting ready to take their certification exam. All of those 9 are enrolled at UCC for fall term as pre-nursing students, and the other one is still in high school. And then they came from Days Creek, Sutherland, Oakland, Riddle, South Empire, Roseburg, and Douglas. So the response from all of our schools for an 18-year-old to give to do 2 months in their summer to be certified was pretty spectacular. So it was a great cohort.
Well, that's really impactful.
So thank you. So summer was not slow in the early. We had teenagers out here.
Hot, but not on fire.
The camps.
Yeah.
The camps were 4 to 5 days each. Yeah. And then that nursing cohort were here for 2 months.
What's the goal for next year?
I would love to keep doing this. I know that Rachel and I are definitely talking. It was lovely to have that grant, to be able to, that allowed for more equity, right? We were able to open it up. I think we worked really hard with the counselors to try to make sure all types of students heard about it. I know there's certain aspects. I know me as a mother, I definitely wanted my kids to participate things in every summer, but some parents don't know that's available to them. So we wanted to make sure that that got out to all students. So I would love to keep doing it. It was a lot of fun. It was a team effort. We had different people lead each one of those camps, and there's a lot of work that goes into the planning of them. And then, of course, we want to keep teenagers safe when they're here. So making sure all those events were properly chaperoned. So keep it going. The exposure component, we've had students respond back to us about trying to set up meetings to better understand their path. So once they learned about vet tech, they reached out and said, now can we sit down and understand what classes I need to take? Can others have been like, I don't know yet. Can I sit down and do that career assessment again? That's my dream as the director of what we do, is to really get that little spark to start, and then we can help direct them and show them the plan of how they can actually achieve that.
If I can jump in, this is the danger of having great grants, right? We do great things and then we do it for a year or 2 years. And then we go, oh, the grants, we don't have the grant anymore. And so Missy and I had a great conversation about that cannot be the way we proceed. If we do something that's really impactful for students and is the right thing to do for our community, we need to find a way to continue to do it. So we're gonna get creative. It's not okay to say, you know, we don't have the grant anymore. And I do believe that it's a strong part of our mission. It's that whole creating a college going culture in our community piece that we have in our strategic plan. This is a big part of it. So we will figure it
will.
out.
Just do it again.
Yeah.
And again, and again.
Yeah.
We will rebuild.
Yep.
But the kids are in, that's what I think is the real message, is the schools were interested, the kids were interested, the ones that came, they came all week. So for a teenager to give up a week of their summer and come every day, that shows that it's worth doing. So.
You ever thought about doing any of the school breaks? You're like.
Well, the healthcare event, we're planning it again. That is in December when they're still in school, but our campus is available. And so that we got a great response last year. We're hoping to kind of double it this year, get it up to closer to 400. And then, so yeah, I think there's definitely things we can look forward to in the future.
I know if there is something, you'll find it.
I will try. Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you, Missy.
All
Thank
right.
you very much. Like I say, it's really impactful work. Hey, Austin and Josh, you guys don't have to stick around here for the rest of this. It's like, please.
Danielle, she said they wanted to stay.
Oh, that's great. I'm sorry we don't have popcorn, so. Okay, we're gonna like pick the pace up here. I don't think there's any association reports, so on to our president's report.
Faculty back on campus yesterday, and when we get our faculty back on campus is the first day we sort of do a kickoff. I did make a comment during my remarks to everyone yesterday that kickoff is the wrong phrase because we have been kicking off all summer long. You just heard some of it, but we're truly a 365-day enterprise at this point. There's not a day when we don't have something going on, especially now that we have housing. Even on Christmas Day, right? Somebody's in our housing and we're running a business. So it was a great morning and lunch with lots of our new folks and our returning faculty that was back on campus. And just, it's that one time a year when the entire college, everybody who works here is in one spot. And the best part of it, Steve was there, so he can probably attest to this, was that we had a student panel and just a great group of one past student, one future student, and then some of our present students. And we had a few pre-prepared questions, but then we had questions coming in from the audience too. And Tom Tiley on the end on the right there, who runs our Woolley Center, was the moderator and did a fabulous job. And I think we all learned a ton about our students and what's great about the college and some of the things that can be difficult about the college. And I just got really great feedback from staff. They enjoyed that. So that might be something that we do again. Let me see.
So, you know, it was incredible. That was such a great idea to do that. You know, I think if you stand back and think about it, there wasn't anything that like you hadn't heard before, but actually to like really hear it from the students themselves. And I mean, you could feel the struggles that they went through. And it was fabulous. I wish everybody could have heard that. It was just,
We do have a video too, interested in.
oh my goodness, it was really good.
We videoed the whole thing. This coming week, there are a few fun things. If anybody wants to participate, we'll have welcome pancakes on Monday morning at the Student Center and some stress workshops and a free lunch. There's a food theme in all of this. Students show up. We have a UCC Clubs and Resource Day on Wednesday, and then a free lunch and shaved ice, which is a massive draw. for our students. And then something called human battleships that's actually really concerning me. Maybe Austin will be there to provide some support because I'm not sure what they're going to do, but there's these boats all over campus and they're.
Good thing we have an EMS program.
Exactly. And I know it's gonna be interesting when nobody came and asked me if they could do it. Yeah, right? I know that somebody said, don't ask her, just do it. So we'll see what happens with that. And then obviously we want to introduce our students to tutoring and make sure they know where those services are the first week.
Racketeria.
So the racketeria is what we call the cafeteria now, because it was the cafeteria. And then we got some pool tables and table tennis and basketball and that air hockey thing. And so somebody came up with the name racketeria. I think it was Keely actually from Upward Bound. So yes, some activities next week. Look at our truck from our truck driving school. Advertising right here on I-5. Shameless advertising. Our trucks have all now been wrapped. And so you should see them out and about. Probably seen them before. It's just that you didn't know they were us.
Oh, look at
because
the
they-
URL,
Check
umpqua.edu/CDL. That rocks.
Just thought you would enjoy seeing that those are out and about.
Great.
And I do predict that I will get more calls about bad driving, but it's okay. There's nothing, there's no bad marketing, right? No bad press.
If you say so.
Yeah. Okay, let me see, what else do I have? I'm gonna come back to this in just a second. I'm gonna tell you about some other things. We have a first official cohort of LPN on campus. I wanna make sure that you know that. We've been working at bringing back the LPN program, so the nursing sort of sequence is CNA, Certified Nurse Assistant, licensed practical nurse, and then full registered nurse, RN. And we now have LPNs back on campus, which is fantastic. And this, of course, is part of our medical careers expansion. And in addition, we have phlebotomy and our fire science that you just heard about. And then we have an EMT section at Roseburg High School this fall. So that's a great addition to dual credit. The other thing I wanted to point out is that emergency medical services is actually moved down to main campus, which you probably don't know, but it's been up in the tech center up by the track, and the tech center is fabulous. It's a great space, but it just doesn't feel like it's part of what we do. And I always feel guilty because I don't get up there enough to say hi to people and meet students and things like that. And I also think it's just this lost opportunity for other students to see what's going on in that program and go, oh, hey, maybe I want to do that. So the SIM ambulance is now down at HNSC, and that program has moved down with all the other medical programs. And we love that they're on main campus. Are you already on the chat bot? You're gonna kill me. Let me talk about the chat bot.
So I failed. I asked for a copy of the schedule of Aloha for the schedule next week.
Oh, that's a tough one. Ask it something that a student would ask. A student would never ask that.
Where's the next party on campus?
We'll ask that.
Happening at the school next week.
There's
Ask it that. Ask what's happening at the school next week.
ask.
What I was going to say before Steve just rained on my parade is that we have a new Riverhawk chatbot, and I keep randomly asking it things, and it's actually been very successful with questions like, what kind of careers are there to do with automotive, or when shall I register for classes, or things that students are more likely to ask. Did you ask it something else?
Yeah, a big win.
Okay, tell us what the win was.
Okay, I asked what the schedule was this term. Let's ask it how to register.
So is it an app, just an app?
It just appears on the website. So when you go to the website, just like most websites, we're a little behind, and this is the truth. Most websites have chatbots. But we finally got one. And it
Oh my
actually
gosh,
works
it just
well.
crushed it on register.
See?
Woohoo! Yay, Rachel.
It's true. because, for the fall term, our enrollment is 28% up
Wow.
from last fall. Yes, right? It's kind of overwhelming. I think I checked in with you all about a month ago and said, you know, it looks really, really high, but it usually flattens out. It is just keeping on an upward trajectory, which is wonderful. I will tell you that I feel it from my staff. People are extremely busy and doing incredible, incredible work. So if you see any of our staff, please tell them thank you for everything they're doing, because they're going above and beyond. And some of the things that my best example is, because I'm looking right at Danielle, is, you know, our advising department will call and say, hey, we've got like 15 students on a wait list for X class. And academic services goes into get it done mode and finds a teacher and schedules another class and gets those students registered. And a lot of it wasn't happening before. It was like, oh, sorry, you didn't get into that class. And that is not how we are working anymore. We are really trying to capture every student and that wants to be here, because they will go somewhere else if we don't capture them here. So we are super excited and also super overwhelmed. I think Josh said it really, really well. He said like, yeah, and then, oh my goodness, what are we gonna do now, right? It's a little bit like that. And I will say on top of that, staff is working really hard, and we do have some pretty big vacancies still going into this year. Just like everybody else struggles to hire, we sometimes struggle to hire in various areas, and it makes gaps, and it means that people have to do 1.5 jobs or 2 jobs. And I just want to thank everybody for the incredible work that they've put in service of students. Little grant that came in that I thought you might be interested in. The Roundhouse Foundation gave us $30,000, and it is money that goes directly to students, and it pays in the welding and automotive program for their course materials and equipment that they need, like personal tools and protective footwear and helmets. Those are all items that students have to purchase to be in that program. And if it weren't for this grant, some of those students would not make it into or through the program because they just would not be able to afford that equipment. So we're very thankful for those extra monies. Let me see, the facilities department. So the facilities department has been cranking. The first thing's kind of a funny one. You may have noticed we've replaced almost now most of the trash cans on campus. And it does make me giggle a little bit, because I've had several, I would say it's about a 60-40 on the trash cans. 40% of people are outraged and just cannot believe that the historic trash cans are not there anymore. But we have new modern ones, and they're UCC green, and it's been a bit of a controversy, but I know we'll get through it.
It'll never be the same.
It'll never be the same. We have pictures, so it'll all be fine. On top of that, facilities has been busy working with contractors to replace the roof on the CWT building. They have replaced a number of the pathways. They're beautiful trees on campus, and they put the roots push up the pathways, and some of them were getting to the stage where we were getting some injuries. So they've done a great job with that. They have replaced our compass, which was facing slightly in the wrong direction, and also was a bit of a hazard because it was inlaid with metal, and in the wintertime it would get really, really slippery. And we've had a few slips and falls there, so glad to have that fixed. And then one of the big jobs is replacing the boiler in the athletics complex, and we're still about 10 days out from that being complete. So there are some cold showers happening in athletics right now, which is good for the soul and character building. I'll be fine. And then, of course, downtown housing. The Hawk's Nest is almost finished. The majority of the project is complete. There's just a few tweaks that they're still doing to that building, but students are all moved in. The Hideaway is going to be about a month overdue from our original plan of it being finished on September 1st. So we're now looking at October 1st. a third of the drywall is hung and the elevator is the big piece that goes in at the end of the month. There was a lot of seismic work that needed to happen in that elevator shaft, so it really held up some of the processes and then just some supply chain issues. But we've got students housed elsewhere, so no biggie. And I think we talked about this. We've talked about this all along, right? Like it was finished on time. I was going to eat my hat, so I don't have a hat and I don't have to eat it. So that is all moving forward. Few things coming up. We have our guest speaker, Richard Reeves, coming on September 19th from 4 to 6. Please do not miss it. It's going to be fantastic. It is free for everyone and you will get a free book. And then a big weekend of celebrations. Friday night, September 20th, we have a Paint the Town Green event downtown. These windows here are all currently painted in downtown Roseburg. The businesses have let us paint all of their windows, so it's very festive down there. And I do need to give a shout out to Abigail Willis, who's trying to not make eye contact with me. She doesn't want me to give her a shout out. But she has been really involved and volunteered a ton of her time to help paint those windows. So
Oh, wow.
thank you for all of that work. There are downtown on that Friday, the 20th, there will be discounts at restaurants and special dishes that are UCC themed. Which I don't actually know what that means. I'm hoping we're not serving Riverhawk. Riverhawk and fries or something. But it should be really festive. There are some green drinks and so please show up. Yeah. And then the following day on the Saturday, of course, is our 60th anniversary celebration. We have over 300 RSVPs so far on Facebook. And it's hard to plan an event where you don't know how many people are going to show up, but I think we're ready. I think it will be super fun. Again, it's a free event for everyone. There will be music. There's a kids zone. There are academic activities going on. There are alumni basketball games. There's, there's axe throwing. It's a true statement. And then at 6 p.m. we have the Brothers Doobie playing at Swanson Auditorium, which again is a free concert for all in the community. And that is a nod to the fact that the actual Doobie Brothers played here, I believe in 1972. I know at least one person in this room who is here for that. And that's what we have coming up. That is everything. As always, I could go on forever about all the cool things, but I will stop there.
Any questions at all for Rachel?
So if we needed windows painted somewhere downtown, is there someone that could do that? Besides Abigail?
You can discuss with Abigail. There are some other folks that we're helping too, I think. Just one other person. So yeah, we'll ask that one other person.
I love the chat bot. That is so awesome.
Come up with a
Over on the right-hand corner.
Does that a computer that belongs to your organization?
Oh, yeah, probably.
I bet they have it, so you
Probably
can't
blocked
chat.
I
on
have
it.
a chat.
You do?
I'll check it. I've been on there before and I've seen it.
Yeah.
And I just deleted it out.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Great report. There's so many exciting things happening in the next couple of weeks here. It's really great. Okay, just one quick comment with the, I think the board, we should just acknowledge that with the, this, what looks like this projected, big increase in enrollment, that creates a lot of, extra work that, may be unanticipated for some of our faculty, especially those like liberal arts classes that, they'll have multiple sections that have very full classes and just going to be a lot of work for them. And I think we should just, take a second to really, if anybody just randomly happens to listen to this, to know how much that we as a board really appreciate all their extra work because there is a lot of extra work and, they're really the means to help our students be successful. So faculty and part-time faculty, thank you, so much. Okay, let's see. Next is Caroline was at the OCCA board training this last weekend and she has a report for us.
It's gonna be real quick. It won't be long. The main thing that, and I think everybody probably already knows, is that as of January 1st, 2024, all governing body members of public bodies with annual expenditures of at least 1 million must complete public meeting law training at least once during their term. And that it sort of has been on hold a little bit because it is the Oregon Government Ethics Commission that is the ones that are saying whose training is going to be certified, basically. At this point, I believe both OSBA and OCCA are getting the training together and will be certified within the next month or so. We can actually get that training right now from, they're offering some, the Oregon Government Ethics Commission is offering some on their website right now. So that's something that we're going to have to look at as a board to get that done. And it is just once within your term, basically. It's not every year, but if you go for reelection, you have to get it again. Once every term.
I will make sure to organize that for you so that it's done in a way that is the least painful.
Great. Well,
I
I
promise.
really look forward to it.
Let's see what else. And the Oregon, let's see. Also, the other thing is, which I know we already do, Zoom meetings as of January, I think, January of 2025 now have to be posted on the website of board meetings. They have to be there and they have to be kept there. And they weren't positive if it could be a link to like YouTube or what, but they just said at this point, all they know is it has to be posted. So they talked about, and I can email you guys if anybody wants any of the presentations that they gave. They did a presentation on the enrollment cliff, which is basically, I think we sort of heard about it a little bit from Rachel, of the whole 18-year-olds we're not getting that, and pushing towards getting people that are seniors and doing classes for seniors and everything, that enrollment is starting to go down. And even except for us.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, except for us. But they did a whole presentation on it with data and everything. And it was actually sort of interesting. It actually sort of was.
The birth rate, right?
Yes. Yeah, it's the birth rate. Yeah. And then they brought in some people from a place called Essential Partners. And basically they did a thing called Tools to Depolarize Our Campuses. And basically it was on communication and how to listen. And they did little work groups with people on, doing listening exercises, etc. And if anybody is ever interested in ORSs, the ORS 341 is for the community colleges and how they're set up and what the boards are supposed to be doing, etc. And you can read all about that. There you go. We do have there's a new president for the OCCA, Abby. I actually really like her a lot. She is looking at trying to actually bring some things to the table for boards of a little bit more along the lines of training and different things for it. So yeah, it was good. There you go.
So thank you very much for going. I know it's a hike and a half up there and back, so like,
That's okay.
yeah, thank you very much. And
No, really. Thanks.
You got it.
it's good to hear about your connection with our new OCCA director too.
Yeah,
It's-
yeah.
We are very encouraged. Okay, well, great report. On to new business. The first is the classified bargaining agreement.
Yes, so I'm pleased to say that the college has come to an agreement on the classified union contract opening for this year. And the classified staff will receive a 3% raise, which is commensurate with the other employees of the college. And along with their step, of course, that they get every year. We've also increased the insurance premium by $50 a month, which again makes it equal to that of the faculty and administrator groups. There's also, the MOA also includes a provision for open classified positions to be posted for 5 days internally before they go external. And that's a provision that allows our classified folks to look to transfer if that's something they're interested in within the organization. And then there's a few other slight changes that help classified folks more easily move around in positions according to sometimes the college's need and sometimes that person's aspiration for their career. You know, I've heard frequently in the last three years from classified staff, you know, we don't want to be the underclass. We want to be treated the same as everyone else. And so I'm really pleased that we're able to get the benefits on par and that everybody at the college received the same raise this year. I think that's a really important message. And of course, we have our big bargaining with that bargaining unit next year. We could not run the college without these wonderful and amazing folks. A few of them sitting in the room today. Our IT department and our custodial department and our facilities department in particular, and certainly student services, just couldn't operate at all without the wonderful people that we have working in the classified group. So just want to thank them all for the incredible work that they did, and that I am bringing you back.
All right, so what we need is a motion to approve the, okay, so it's been moved and seconded to approve the UCC collective bargaining agreement memo. Okay, any questions or discussions at all? Ready to vote? Guys, good? Okay, all those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, motion passes. Just a quick comment. You know, Rachel used the word enterprise during her presentation and when speaking about the, you know, the college. And, you know, I think that, you know, there's several of us here that have worked our entire careers in industries where we can, you know, more easily relate to people that are, you know, in the, you know, what we, you know, call the classified bargaining unit here at the college. And those are the types of people that, you know, have kept our businesses going and are the ones that have really enabled us to, you know, to sit here before the board tonight. And so, you know, I can tell you, you know, and I know that there's others in here that would say the exact same thing, that, you know, how, you know, deeply grateful that we are for all the work. I wish, you know, that the reps were here, that we could, you know, tell them. So please, you know, share our comments. And I know I'm speaking on behalf of everyone here at the board that, you know, we really appreciate, why are you guys laughing at me? Okay, he's not included. So anyway, thank you. You know, like Rachel said, the college wouldn't, you know, without your support and help, this, you know, we depend on you and our students depend on you, you know, every single day of the year. Your work never, ever stops. Okay, so now on to resolution number 2, approval of the proposal to issue debt.
Members of the board, good evening. I am bringing to you for your approval resolution number 2. It's asking you to authorize the college to start looking into that issuance options, and we would like to cap those options to not to exceed 8 million. The funds would be used for addressing deferred maintenance needs and continuing investment in our aging infrastructure, and also upgrading some of our facilities that just in critical needs in supporting for developing of our academic programming. And this is the resolution that's not really concerned to any debt obligations at this point. It's mainly allowing the president and myself to bring you options of what that would be looking like. And as you know, we have a very strong facilities work plan, and we've been looking into how to continue investment in and continuing our deferred maintenance and investment in the infrastructure that is so critically needed for our institution going forward. We adopted the forecasting tool, so we are confident that we can bring you options that will carry over those deferred kind of debt payments, and also can continue growing our institution.
Approve resolution number 2.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. But if somebody should just make one, like, really brief comment here to explain this for somebody that might, happen to listen to this segment of the video. So the idea here is that, we would issue debt, and the debt would be serviced through what's called the legacy fee. The legacy fee was adopted when the college built HNSC, and the monies from that fee went to retire the debt that was on that building. And July 1st, the college was able to completely pay off that debt and be debt free. And so the proposal is to bring us another debt instrument that we would repay through the legacy fee. And the idea will be that we'll only borrow what the fee will, what it can be used for. Then, the college is going to work through the capital improvement plan, the facilities work plan, and choose those items that, would be the highest priority to be funded with this debt instrument. And the way that the rules work is that, we have to identify the potential projects before we can issue the debt. And then once we can issue the debt, we can still fiddle with the amounts and allocations, but we have to identify those in advance. So, it's all super straightforward. The college is not, we're not assuming additional debt, that we don't have a plan to pay for. It's going to be paid out of the general fund. I mean, we have a very specific pathway on how the debt will be financed. So with that, should we take a vote? So all those in favor of approving?
So before you do that,
Yes.
referring back to your fiddle with statement there, you said we can fiddle with this.
There's different parameters we can play with. One parameter, if I get wrong here, tell me, but I believe this is for up to, is it 7 or 8 million? 8 million, up to 8 million. Okay, that's one number. We can adjust that amount down. I don't think we can go up, but we can go down.
Yeah.
And then what the money is, the specific projects that it's used for, we have to, when we adopt that resolution, we'll lay out the projects, but the amount of money that would go to the projects, I think we can go down, but I don't know that we can necessarily go up. So we can still play with what the list of projects that we'll work with.
Okay.
Is that right? Okay, David.
want to make sure I understand this. I'm going to use probably more layman terms about this, but if somebody listens, hopefully this will be helpful.
Thank you.
There was a season in history where we got behind on deferred maintenance, right? And so the college has been, we've been playing sort of catch up and a shell game of finances to try to get things back to a healthier stage. If I understand this right, part of the concept of issuing this debt is to help facilitate the facilities plan. So we're going to start identifying all of the projects in this plan, sequencing them out, and then this debt helps get caught up so that the general budget in the future is able to maintain so there's no longer any debt. So this is really just a protocol for that. And there's flexibility in how we allocate the dollars in the future if we need to reprioritize because our roof falls through or something. But that's the whole idea behind this, is it gives us a block of money to sort of get back into to get on a train that left the station, right? We should have been maintaining for a long time. That train left the station. We got to catch up and we got to hop on, and this is going to do it.
Getting a 20-year.
Right.
Yeah, thank you.
And so this is a unallocated $8 million amount that we know we're gonna need, that we can prioritize, repairs or maintenance that may come up, some that's already known, some that may be unknown, and pay for it out of this $8 million fund. And so when the situation arises that we need $2 million for a roof or a boiler or something that we didn't anticipate or something that we did, and we as a board will be notified that here's $1.5 million we're going to spend on this thing pursuant to this debt interest instrument that we're about to authorize. That
It's a little bit like an earmarked line of credit.
there's going to be more to it than there's $8 million here that we're going to spend.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, on each little segment of it,
Right.
we're going to be notified and be asked to pass.
Yeah, I think actually, at the next time this comes before the board, we will have a list of projects and we'll have approximate amounts allocated to each of the projects. And there will be backup data of how those projects were chosen.
And bear in mind, there probably will be projects that won't make it onto that list because we are only going to borrow as much as we know we can pay back.
Through the legacy fund.
Mhm.
Okay, I understand that. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. And thank you both for your comments and questions. I think that's very helpful. And, you know, I think what Rachel just said is especially important, that, you know, to bear in mind that, you know, $8 million just gets us started, that there's a lot of work to do. And in that facilities improvement plan that, you know, the college put together last year, it's available on the website. You know, it really identifies.
And importantly, there's a way to pay off the debt.
I would say I think it's important on the record to make sure that anybody that listens to this understands that from a student perspective, it's not new debt that the college is taking out. It's since other debt was retired, this is something that's already in sort of the pay structure for what the college is doing. And so we're sort of reallocating those monies to facilities, which is kind of what students have already been paying for. So, because I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty cost sensitive for our students. And so it's important to me that if there's going to be a fee that anybody's going to bear, it better be in their best interest. And I think that we can say that it is pretty confidently.
I understand. Thank
Yep.
you.
100%. Yeah, once again, thank you. Gosh, I really appreciate all your comments. Very helpful. Okay, anything else? Charlie, good. Guy, Caroline? Okay, so should we vote then? All those in favor of approving resolution 2, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed. Okay, resolution number 2 is approved. Okay, on to each year we have to elect officers, you know, our board chair, vice chair. And so here we are.
24, 25 and longer.
and 6 and 7 and 8.
I second that.
Oh, my goodness. Any other?
Yeah, anybody else want the job?
I guess the lowest paid employee at full-time employee. at UCC.
Okay, should we vote?
Would you like me to call for the vote for you?
Sure, please.
All right, those in favor of re-electing Steve signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Well, the motion carries.
Yay. Okay, so thank you. It's an incredible honor. You guys have no idea how impactful this is and how much I really enjoy doing this.
You're really good at it.
Oh, it's so
Like,
fun.
really.
Clearly, your kids are out of the house.
Oh, well, thank you very much, Twyla. That's incredibly kind. So, on to vice chair.
I don't see why we don't keep it the same, and I'd like to make a motion that Guy continues on as vice chair for 24-25.
That's really good job.
Cool.
We'll take out the chair, right?
Stay healthy.
Okay, all those in favor for Guy to be the vice chair again? Okay, great. Congratulations, Guy. Okay, that brings us to the end of our agenda for board comments. Any concluding comments for the good of the order? So let's see, next week is Richard Reeves, and then next week from Saturday is 60th.
Monday is the first day of school, which will be the very best day here. So nothing better to do.
Very exciting.
We'll meet our students.
Well, thank you all very much. Great meeting and great presentation. So with that, the meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
You're great, David. Thank you.